Hello, viewers. My name is Professor Srikanth, and it is my honor and pleasure to introduce Dr. V. Mohan. Dr. Mohan is the chairman and chief of Diabetology at Dr. Mohan's Diabetes Specialities Center at Chennai in South India, which is a WHO collaborating center for non-communicable diseases prevention and control, and an IDF center of excellence in diabetes care. Dr. Mohan oversees a chain of 50 diabetes centers across 9 states of India and has over 480,000 registered diabetes patients in his centers. He is also president and director of the Madras Diabetes Research Foundation, which is Asia's largest standalone diabetes research center. Deeply interested in research from his undergraduate medical student days, Dr. Mohan has published more than 1,275 papers in peer-reviewed journals, which is a world record by a practicing doctor in any specialty. This includes 836 original articles, 279 review articles and invited editorials, and 161 chapters in textbooks on diabetes. His research has attracted over 117,000 citations, and he has an H-index of 126. Dr. Mohan has trained over a large number of physicians and diabetologists, in addition to nurses, educators, and technicians. He has received over 180 awards, including the prestigious Dr. B.C. Roy National Award by the Medical Council of India and the Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Centenary Award from the Indian Council of Medical Research, the highest award for biomedical research in India. He was conferred the Dr. Harold Rifkin Distinguished International Service in the Cause of Diabetes Award by the American Diabetes Association and is the first Indian to receive this award. Recently, he has also been conferred the Fellowship of the Royal Society of Edinburgh and is one of the few doctors from India to receive that. For his extensive contribution in the field of diabetes, Dr. Mohan was also awarded the prestigious Padma Shri by the Government of India in 2012. Thank you, Dr. Mohan, for taking the time out from your busy schedule to address the IITM and NPTEL community on this very important topic, COVID-19, a clinician's perspective. Thank you.
Everyone, I would like to thank IIT Madras, particularly Professor Srikanth, for inviting me to give this talk and also for the very kind introduction. I would also like to thank Professor Krishna Kumar, who initiated this whole thing. Krishna Kumar is a very good friend of mine, and we are hoping to collaborate in many ways. For those of you who don't know, I am a visiting professor at IIT Madras. And already have a lot of collaborations going with at least 4 or 5 different departments in IIT Madras over the last 10 to 15 years. It's a great honor, I know, to deliver the IIT Madras extramural lecture. I'm not new to IIT. I've come to IIT several times and delivered lectures there, but this is special because I've been invited to talk on COVID-19, a clinician's perspective. Since it is difficult in this particular platform to get live questions, I just told Professor Srikanth, why don't you put out a note asking people whether they have any questions. And both he and I were overwhelmed by the response that we got from all of you, because so many questions came that I don't think it will be possible to answer all the questions. But the good news is that many of the questions that you have asked, I'm actually going to answer in this talk. So let me get straight to the point. It's a slightly long lecture because I'm trying to include 3 or 4 things in it based on the inputs that I received from IIT Madras, from Professor Krishna Kumar and Professor Srikanth. First of all, of course, we'll talk about COVID-19 because that's the burning topic of the day. But as a diabetologist, I have to talk about diabetes, and it's relevant because everybody is scared that a person with diabetes, if he gets COVID, it can be very serious, and we'll talk about that. And many of you have already asked me questions related to that. Then I'll talk in general about improving your health, the health of your family, healthy living. So those kind of things, which will also include, of course, prevention of diabetes, because that is all part of prevention of diabetes. I'll also give you a little bit of perspective about what we did as an institution uh, post COVID and during the lockdown, not post COVID, but post the lockdown, how we managed, and that will give you an idea about what some institutions can do, like IIT Madras, and what you students can do. Basically, as a disclaimer, I don't treat COVID-19 patients myself because I'm not an infectious diseases person. And having diabetic patients who are very much prone to COVID, we have taken a policy decision that we'll focus on the diabetes control and help to prevent serious infections in COVID-19. However, I'm involved in various state government, central government committees to advise both the center and state government regarding COVID. And just yesterday, we had a very important meeting with the health secretary, which came in today's papers, and that's the reason why I had to shift the talk from yesterday to today. So on that note, and this is of course my two centers, this is our hospital. We have actually 52 branches of our center across 32 cities and 9 states of India, and this is one of our research foundation buildings, the biggest one in Siruseri, not too far from IIT actually, if you think about it. And we also have 4 or 5 other facilities for the research foundation. We are an IDF Center of Excellence in Diabetes Care and an ICMR Center for Advanced Research on Diabetes. So this will be the flow of my presentation. I'll talk a little bit about COVID-19 without going into too much of technical details. I'll talk about a little bit about diabetes, then the connection between COVID-19 diabetes. As I've said, go to healthy living, then show you how we managed before and after COVID lockdown. When I say we managed our institutions. Then some precautions to prevent COVID-19 myths and realities. Basically, this is going to be a motivational talk to tell you all nothing to worry about COVID-19. So that's, if you want a one-line message, that's it. Don't worry about COVID-19. Okay, it's just one of those things and it'll go away. But let's talk about COVID-19. Now, I'd like to start with this quote from Mr. Ronald Rumsfeld, who on 12th February 2002, he has actually written a book called The Known and Unknown, a memoir. So he says, in life there are things which we know that we know. Okay, what's your name? Oh, you know your name. So you know that you know your name. Then there are things which are known unknowns. For example, if you ask me in the beyond the Milky Way, what is there and this, that, you say, oh, that part I don't know. I know that I don't know it. It's something and all is there, but then I don't know what it is. Similarly, if I ask you about, you ask me about music and say, well, this octave and this thing, I'll say, I know it's all there, but I really don't know about it. I'm not the expert in that. But then there are also unknown unknowns. You don't even know that you don't know. And that's a big problem, because if you don't know that you don't know, how are you going to solve a problem? Why am I talking about all this in a COVID lecture? Because COVID-19 is in the latter category. Suddenly a virus comes from somewhere, a disease hits us, we don't know anything about it, then slowly we begin to know. Even today we don't know the clinical course. Many of you have asked, why is that some patients are asymptomatic? Why is that some die suddenly? I wish I knew the answers. Nobody knows the answers. Some are asking, why is it taking so long to produce a vaccine? Do you know that it takes 5 to 10 years to produce a vaccine? We have had this whole disease for less than 6 months with us. How can you produce a vaccine? The first vaccine which is produced by Oxford, today's morning's papers, it was there, it was tried in monkeys and it failed. It couldn't prevent the monkeys from getting COVID-19. You want to take a vaccine which is not approved and then get COVID-19 and die due to that? We don't even know whether the vaccine which is produced from COVID-19 virus will actually produce COVID-19 in you. Okay, so there are so many unknowns that's why this disease is so challenging. It's not so easy when you don't know anything about anything. Okay, now COVID-19 belongs to a group of viruses called as the coronavirus, and we'll talk a little bit about that. It has all these spikes on it and so on. We won't go too much into the details. Now, just to remind ourselves in history that epidemics have been there for long. We are just seeing this pandemic now and we think this is the only thing. And we think it's the worst that humanity has gone through. No, it's not at all the worst. It's far from being the worst. If you go back to the year 1300 AD, when bubonic plague or Black Death as it was called, it killed 25 to 50 million people. we are talking about 1300. What is the population of the world at that time? Today it is 7 billion. It has increased from 6 to 7 billion in about 10 years time. Okay. So at that time, I don't know, probably the population of the world would have been only 1 billion or something, or even less. Out of that, half the world is wiped out. If you compare with that what we are going through now, this is nothing. Actually, it is really nothing. Smallpox killed 8 million people. Okay, how many people have died in the world till now due to COVID-19? Okay, and in most places the epidemic is actually going down now. I won't take too much of time, but if you come more recently, just 100 years ago, Spanish flu killed 50 million people. 50 million. Just 100 years ago. Okay. More recently, we have had the SARS and the swine flu and the MERS and the Ebola. You can see how quickly it's been coming. 2002, 2009, 2012, 2014. Every 4-5 years, a new virus of this group seems to be coming. So this is not new, except that the COVID-19 has involved more people. These four, Ebola, MERS, swine flu, and swine flu to some extent came to India. But the other three did not even come to India. So we didn't face it. Okay, now what is the name for this? Now the SARS is also called the SARS virus, which came in 2003, produced severe acute respiratory syndrome. That's why it's called as SARS. That's called as the SARS novel virus. Okay, coronavirus. And so this is very similar to that and produces very similar disease. That's why it's called as the coronavirus, the novel coronavirus 2 it is called. This is the coronavirus 1 and this is the SARS coronavirus 2, which produces coronavirus disease 2019, otherwise called as COVID. Coronavirus disease, since it came in December 2019, it's called COVID-19. If it had been discovered only in January, it would be called 2020. Okay, COVID-20 it would have been called. Okay, so that's it. I'm not going to go into MERS and so on. Now, how does COVID-19 spread? Okay, one thing you should know is it is spread from contact like this. If somebody sneezes or coughs, there are little droplets which come out. These are filled with viruses, and if you are that close to somebody, then you'll get hit completely with that virus, and that will go straight into your face if you're standing next to someone, and that's how it's almost sure that you will get the disease. Now suppose you're not standing here but standing about 2 meters or 3 meters away. By the time the virus is already diluted, and if just a few hundred virus goes into your body, nothing will happen. But if millions go like this, that's when you get infected. So that is why stand 6 feet apart from somebody, what we call as social distancing. I don't like that word. It sounds as if like an outcast when you say social distancing. I prefer the word physical distancing. You stay 2 meters away from me. Okay. Having direct contact with infectious secretions, and then it may come through sputum, serum, blood, respiratory droplets, and that's why everybody should wear. We'll talk about these later. Okay. Now, how contagious is COVID-19? You may think this is the most contagious thing we have seen. See where COVID is in the list. It's second from last. Okay. Measles is so much more contagious. Whether it's more contagious or not depends on the R0. What is R0? R0 means how many an average number of how many people on an average can this disease infect. If somebody has it, how many people? With virus, it's about 20 people. 12 to 18 people can get infected, and then it goes down. Smallpox, polio, mumps, even SARS and even influenza is higher. In the case of COVID-19, it's about 2. So about 2 people can get infected from 1 person. So it is not that contagious. It's almost the same as Ebola. Why are we all at home then? We are all at home because when the other contagions came, when the other pandemics came, we didn't know much about them. We didn't have cell phones. We didn't have technology as we have today, and therefore we just allowed people to go along, and we didn't take so much of precautions. But the flip side of that is that so much more panic and fake news and everything also comes. Okay, it was actually worked out that even when SARS came, there were only about 50 million people who had WhatsApp, for example. Today, almost 4 or 5 billion people have WhatsApp. So that's why, just like the COVID spreads, news, bad news, good news, everything spreads, and along with that fear also spreads. What is called as COVID psychosis or COVID paranoia is what is spreading, and that is what kills people. If any of you are on Twitter and you have been watching me, almost every day I post about this only. I don't talk about COVID, diabetes, this, that, it'll get worse. I keep saying, don't get scared, don't get scared, don't get scared. And I'll show you why. I'm not, just putting everything under the carpet. I'll show you some facts as we go along. So what happens is, if you're here at home, you may maximum, even if you have it, spread it to 1 or 2 people. If you are roaming about like that, you will start spreading, and you will become a super spreader. Now, what is the fatality rate? Now, you may say, well, it may not be contagious, but it kills everyone that you get. Wrong. Okay. Now, if you look at the fatality rate, bird flu is right on top, MERS is right on top, Ebola is right on top, Spanish flu, SARS, smallpox, all these are much more deadly. Okay. So, spreading faster, I told you, measles comes there and SARS is here. Okay. If you look at deadly, all these are on top, and somewhere here is the COVID. Now, COVID, the estimates are between 1.5 to 3.5% of people who die. Why this wide range? Because we don't know the denominator. This is an asymptomatic disease in 80%. So we really don't know how many people have it. But if you look at the people who have been diagnosed, it's 1.5 to 3.5. I would say 10 times more number actually have it. So probably the death rate is about 0.2, 0.3, 0.4%, something like that, of those who get it. And those who get it are so few. So I'll show you the statistics later. Okay. Now, what are the symptoms? Fever can be there, cough can be there, shortness of breath can be there. Okay. Shortness of breath is important. We'll talk more about that. Now, these are the symptoms: fever, cough, difficulty in breathing, muscle pain, tiredness. You feel extremely tired. That's what they say. Incubation period varies from 2 to 14 days. Average is about 5-6 days. Can go up to 14 days. That is one difference between this and influenza. Usually, ordinary influenza is about 1 to 3 days, 4 days, never more than 5 days. Here it can go up to 14 days. So that's one of the problems in controlling this. You don't know who has got it. Your friend will be there talking to you every day, and then he'll turn out to be positive after 2 weeks. And by the time he has spread it to you and to many others, because he doesn't know, you don't know. Okay. So that's one of the problems in containing the COVID-19. Okay. Now, this it can be only diagnosed with a lab test. There is no single symptom by which it can be diagnosed. There are 2 types of lab tests. I am not going to go into that. One is the RT-PCR, which tells you whether the virus is there or not. That shows that you have got active infection. And then after that, the antibodies develop. Antibody developing is a kind of protection that the body is giving you by developing the antibody. That's how it gets rid of the virus. That will be the first one to come, will be IgM. So if you measure the IgM antibody, you know within 1 week you had it. Then comes the IgG, which takes more than a week to form, but that will last for about 3 weeks, 4 weeks. So within a month, if you test somebody, you will know whether they had it or not. Not to 6 months, 1 year, whether you will know, you don't know. IgG may not last that long. IgM doesn't last that long at all. And then there is also false positivity, false negativity, accuracy, sensitivity, specificity. All these things keep varying from kit to kit to kit. Why? Because these have been developed in the last 3 months, 4 months. Everything takes time to develop a proper glucose kit. To develop an HbA1c kit and cholesterol kit, it takes years before FDA gives approval or somebody gives approval. How can you get a kit which is produced in 3 months' time to give you accurate 100%? We are not, geniuses to produce that. It has to be tested in human beings. It has to be seen. There must be a gold standard. What is the gold standard? We don't even know what the gold standard is here. That's why I said the unknown is so much more. See, suppose I was dealing with diabetes. I know sugar is there, HbA1c is there. Tomorrow in IIT Madras, you produce a new test, and you're saying, I don't want, glucose, I don't want HbA1c, I got this new test, new serum marker, which I found out. I'll say, all right, I'll take all my glucose diagnosed patients, HbA1c diagnosed patients, and see how your gold, against the gold standard, how it behaves. Here we don't have a gold standard. So that's one of the problems. Now, again, to quickly tell you, how do you know? Because many people have asked, how do you know it's a common cold or flu? Among your questions, many have asked. So all these questions which you already asked, I'm not going to cover. Okay, cold or flu. As I said, cold and flu is like 1 to 3 days incubation period. Here it's much longer. Symptoms are gradual, or in flu it's very abrupt. In corona it's very slow. Okay, and then fever is quite common here. The problem here is that if you look at difficulty in breathing, you don't get it in a cold, you don't get it in a flu, because they are only affecting the throat. So there's no thing for you to become. Your cough may come, or cold may come, running nose may come. Now running nose, which you get in cold and in flu, you don't get in coronavirus. So if you're getting discharged through the nose, unlikely that you have corona. Okay, and then difficulty in breathing. 2-3 days you had this, now you're finding it difficult to breathe. That means the lung is affected. Very unlikely to be cold and flu, corona. So those are the symptoms which you should know. Emergency warning signs: breathing or shortness of breath, persistent pain or pressure in the chest. Many of you have asked me, very intelligent, like doctors, you have all asked me, is it only respiratory system it affects or it can affect other systems? Today we know that although it is strange, some people seem to get affected only in the heart. Okay, either they get heart attacks or they get what's called as viral myocarditis. The muscle, the cardiac muscle gets affected by the virus. Suddenly heart failure comes, and the what you call it as the electrical failure of the heart can come, or arrhythmias can come, irregular beating, and people die within 1 hour, 2 hours. Very, very rare. When I'm telling you this, don't think that everybody who gets it. We have had like 3 or 4 cases in Tamil Nadu probably who have died like that. Out of 70 million people, we have had 3 or 4 people. That even due to influenza can happen. Believe me, due to influenza, we do have a lot of deaths. We have never been scared about influenza because nobody told you about influenza. If I just tell you all about diabetes, you will faint. You know, it's so scary. The disease is so scary. It depends on how we put it to you and how we tell you. Okay. Then there's also confusion and inability to arouse. So the brain can get affected. Paralysis can come very rarely, maybe 1 case, 2 cases in Tamil Nadu it has come like that. Okay. If bluish lips or face come, that means the lips are getting blue, that means you're cyanosed, you're not getting oxygen. This means you need emergency admission into ICU. Okay. I'm just telling you, in case you heard of somebody having that, who to be rushed to the hospital. Others need not. Again, I've had many questions. Should I rush to a hospital? Should I test for COVID? I'll try to answer some of them. Next, switching tracks. What is diabetes? Okay. Fundamentals for those who don't know anything about diabetes. Diabetes is high blood sugar. It's called hyperglycemia. Glycemia means sugar. Hyper means high. Hypo means low. So hyperglycemia means that you have got high blood sugar. What does it mean? Many people think that only people with diabetes have sugar in their blood. Everybody else has zero sugar in the blood. Wrong. Everybody has sugar in the blood. Sugar is the fuel. It's like the petrol for you. If you don't have glucose, you will die. Okay, if it goes below a certain point, you will die. So you need glucose, and it's that glucose which is meticulously adjusted by the body's insulin to see that it neither goes too high nor it goes too low. So you may ask me, suppose I buy one KC Das Rasagulla from Calcutta, or now it's available all over also, Chennai also. You buy one whole tin, and then I sat and ate off one whole tin of Rasagulla. Will I get diabetes? No, you won't get diabetes, because your body has enough capacity. If your body has more capacity to produce insulin, if you are not one of those who's predestined to get it, and if your pancreas is very good, you will not get it. On the other hand, if somebody is waiting to get diabetes, an insult like that is enough to push them to nearer to diabetes. So what are the diagnostic criteria? In the empty stomach, fasting blood sugar more than 126. You may say, why 126? They could have taken 125, 130. Why 126? Because this is in milligrams per deciliter. In the SI units, it comes in millimoles per liter. And millimoles is what is used in UK and in many other places. So in millimoles, when you talk, it is 7 millimoles. So 7 into 18 is 126 milligrams per day. That's how the 126 came. If you do a random sugar, as you're all sitting now, suppose I had technology to send one little thing to take your blood and then check it now, random, not related to food or anything. If it's more than 200 and you have symptoms, you're diabetic. Then you do a formal GTT where you come in the fasting, we give you 75 grams glucose, exactly at 2 hours we check the blood and it's more than 200. Then you have got diabetes. Then there's a 3 months control test. Any time of the day or night you can take it, just one sample. 3 months sugar, it will tell you whether it is more than, if it is more than 6.5, normal is below 5.6, 5.7 to 6.4 is pre-diabetes, and if it's above 6.5 it is diabetes. There are pre-diabetic values for all of this. For example, 2 hours is 141 to 199 is pre-diabetes, below 140 is normal. Fasting below 100 is normal, 100 to 125 is pre-diabetes, 126 and above is diabetes. You don't have to remember everything, you just remember 1 or 2 of these. Right. Now, this is my father, Professor M. Viswanathan. The reason I am showing it to you is because he was the first diabetes specialist of India. Okay. Diabetology started in Chennai. I am very proud to say that 3 generations of my family have been doing diabetes. My father, Professor Viswanathan, who started the first diabetic clinic in India at the Stanley Medical College and Hospital in the year 1948. He left Stanley in 1970. By that time, he had been known as the father of diabetology in India. And then he left Stanley in 1970 and wanted to do something privately. So I wanted to do English literature, become a poet, and so on. Suddenly I got dragged into this, and my father said, "No, you're my eldest son. You stood first in the university. You will get into medicine. So you better come and do medicine." So I joined him and started doing medicine with him. Then I told him that if I'm going to work with you, I might as well start now. Why should I do MBBS, MD, this, that, PhD? After 20 years, by the time you will be so old, there's no point in me helping you. So 1971, when I joined MBBS at Madras Medical College, I joined him. And from that time started working. So it's going to be 50 years now since I started working in diabetes as a 17-year-old when I joined my father. So the reason I'm showing you this is a little bit about facts about epidemiology of diabetes. Now, if you look at, and this has relation to COVID, that's why I'm talking about it. My father used to say that diabetes in Indians is not so common, but when Indians migrate to other countries, they get diabetes because they put on weight, they eat rich food, then they don't exercise, obesity mainly. So he used to show graphs like this, showing, actually I used to prepare these graphs for him as a first year student. This is all the prevalence of diabetes in Indians in UK, Tanzania, South Africa, Singapore, and so on. You can see all double figures mostly, compared to India, single figures. So he used to say they migrate there, that is why they go and put on weight. So they've got the gene, but they have not yet developed. But what happened was, over the years, this is the time when he made that statement, okay. There is a study which is involved in also. Now from here, you can see the prevalence of diabetes is urban and this is rural. The diabetes went on increasing from 2, 4, 5, 11, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. Now it is about 25% in Chennai and Delhi, okay. Now what do you mean by 20% and 2%? If you take 100 adults, we are not talking about children, about 20 years of age, representative sample, and then you go to their homes, not people who come who are sick to the hospital, pure representative sample, and then you measure using a gold standard test. If you measure whether they have diabetes or not, they used to have only 2% earlier, it became almost 25%, tenfold increase in about 40-50 years, okay. In rural India, it is always slower that time and now also, but there also tenfold increase. You can see while this has become tenfold, that has become tenfold. Now, what does 25% and 22% mean? And these are in urban metropolitan cities. It means if you study 100 people without they didn't know their diabetes, new diabetes, whatever. You have gone and selected a representative sample, about 20 years of age. 1 in 4 will have diabetes. Then you will say, that means 3 in 4 don't have diabetes. No. So even 25% doesn't seem very high. I'll show you in a minute that how that reasoning is not correct. Now, this time at this particular point when we reach this 25%, I got a doubt. My father unfortunately died here, 1998 he died. At that time it was only 11%. So he was still saying that diabetes is a migrant Indian phenomenon. Now it has doubled. Then I asked myself, is it still a migrant Indian phenomenon as he used to say? That means 25% here, is it 40% there? What is it now? So we had to collaborate. So we collaborated with our colleagues in California who had very large Indian cohorts there, mostly from South India, mostly from Chennai and from Bangalore and mostly there in the Silicon Valley. So we were able to get almost similar groups of people who are there, almost from the same families almost we were able to get. So it's a very well matched group and only Indians we studied there, okay. We published this paper in 2015 with Alka Kanaya who had the cohort called as Masala cohort in California, and then this is our group, and so we work together. So this is, and they study only above 40 years. In the US they don't do any studies below 40 years. They think it's so rare, it's not worth studying. So this is 40 to 65 years, okay. The other one I told you is 20 years and above, 20%. Now when you look at Indians in Chennai shown in red here, Indians in San Francisco shown in yellow here, you can see that every age point now, Indians in Chennai have higher diabetes rates than the Indians in San Francisco. The exact opposite of what my fathers used to say those days. Now this is good news and bad news. The good news is in USA. They have kind of slowed down their epidemic. Why? Because they are from a higher socio-economic status. Okay, they are the successful people, well educated. They are exercising. They have cut down their carbohydrate. Okay, they are taking more vegetables and salads. They are doing yoga. They are reducing their, so they are able to kind of reduce it. In Chennai, we are still grappling with tuberculosis, typhoid, malaria, dengue, this, who's talking about diabetes here, okay? So our rates are still very high. But the good news is if we start something like what I'm telling you in the rest of my talk, we can also slow it down, okay? Now if you leave this out for a moment, because this has relevance to COVID, now what I'm showing you here is not Chennai and San Francisco, I'm showing you Chennai only, okay? The difference is the red here is pre-diabetes, I told you those figures before diabetes. And this is diabetes, yellow is diabetes. Now you go to this 40 years, 45, 50, 60, 65 plus. You take about 60 years, 60 to 65 years. About half of the population in Chennai has diabetes. Now it's come to 1 in 2. What I said 1 in 4 or 5 there has become 1 in 2 now, okay? On top of that, there's pre-diabetes, who's going to convert to diabetes in the next 2 years or 3 years. That's another 24%, 20%. If you add both diabetes and pre-diabetes, it's 68 to 73%. Take it as 70%. So 70% of people in Chennai, this is a representative study of Chennai, 70% of people in Chennai have either diabetes or pre-diabetes once they cross 55, 60 years of age. Now you can imagine, whenever we talk about people from COVID dying, and saying that, oh, we had 4 more deaths, they were 65 years old, oh, by the way, they had diabetes, that's why they died, you know. At that age, diabetes will definitely be there. And if you take hypertension, it will be even higher, okay. So diabetes is very, very common at that particular age group in India. And now we are having more than migrant Indians. We are having a kind of a pandemic as far as diabetes is concerned. Nobody is talking about that. About COVID, everybody dies. Yesterday, I told the health secretary, madam, we have had 80 deaths in Tamil Nadu, 40 of them had diabetes. Do you know that more than 40 patients die every day due to diabetes? Now over 3 months, 40 had COVID and they died, okay? More than 40, 50 die every day due to heart attacks and foot infections and other things in diabetes. So let's put it into proper perspective before we keep saying diabetes kills due to COVID. No, diabetes doesn't kill due to COVID. It kills due to your uncontrolled diabetes, due to infections, due to heart attack, due to strokes, due to so many other things. Not due to COVID. COVID will be one of the rarest causes of death in a diabetic patient. Why I am telling you this is, so many diabetic patients call me, sir, I am above 60 and I have got diabetes. So sure death, for me. No, not at all sure death for you. You are going to be fine because you are not going to get it in the first place. And even if you get it, your chance of dying is very, very low. Okay. These are the numbers of people with diabetes in India. About 73 million. According to the International Diabetes Federation in 2017, going to double to 134 million by the year 2045. We will by the time overtake China and become the diabetes capital of the world. Where did the study come from? We do large scale studies. Now this is I mentioned 3 generations. Now this is my daughter Anjana. She and her husband Dr. Ranjit, my son-in-law, are also diabetologists who work with me. So that's why I said 3 generations, my father, me, and now my daughter. She is in charge of this large study looking at the whole country. It's called as the Indian Council of Medical Research, ICMR, India Diabetes Study or INDIAB study. This is the largest study on diabetes epidemiology ever done in the world. We are screening the entire population of India, all the 31 states, with a sample size of 124,000 people, and the study is almost complete now. So when we finish 15 states, we publish in Lancet Diabetes about this. At that time, we had 57,000 individuals, and all the data I showed you just now comes from this particular study. This, of course, funded by ICMR and Government of India. Now, we are not worried about diabetes itself. What we are worried about is the complications of diabetes: heart disease, foot infections, gangrene, eye trouble, retinopathy, kidney trouble or nephropathy, and neuropathy or lack of sensation leads to ulcers and amputations. This is what we are worried about. This is the one which will kill due to diabetes, not COVID, period. Okay. These are very common because look at the number of diabetic patients who get it. 25% of all diabetic patients, we're talking about millions of people in India, 70 million, 25% of them have kidney disease. That is the one if we should prevent. That is the one we should focus on. Not that 4 cases had COVID, COVID will come, COVID will go. Next year there will be no COVID. Diabetes will go on. Okay, and this is what you should focus on. Hence, prevention is the key. Now I'm switching tracks. I've told you something about COVID. I told you something about diabetes. Now I'm switching tracks. Now the rest of my talk is not just for diabetes. Don't think I don't have diabetes, I don't have to listen. This is general health. Just building your general immunity, building health, it's applicable to everyone. Okay. So in the management of diabetes, of course, we have diet, very important. I'll talk about it. Exercise, medicines are important. Education is very important. We don't teach people about diabetes. They'll just follow a pill and won't do anything else. These two are very important. The first two pillars are very important. Now, let's talk about COVID and diabetes. Many of you have asked me questions about COVID and diabetes. So about 4 or 5 questions. Are people with diabetes more likely to get COVID-19? Okay. So that's what people call me. In fact, people from abroad also call me. Doc, I'm gone. No, I can write my will and all. I'm gone. I said, no, you're not gone. Nothing's going to happen to you. Don't worry. No, doc, but I'm 65 and I got diabetes. I think this is enough, no, to kill me. I said, yeah, but why are you going to get infected? The coronavirus COVID is not like a drone, which comes finding out. Let me go find who's got diabetes. There, I'll enter that home. I'll hit that guy and kill him. It's not like that. Why do you go and expose yourself if you know that you're at high risk? Stay at home. You'll never get COVID. Okay, why are you ever going to get? It is not more likely to get COVID-19 than the general population. If you get it, if you have uncontrolled diabetes, then you're asking for trouble. I'll give you an example. You have a matchstick. Take the matchstick, light it, just put it on the ground. What will happen? After 1 minute, it'll die off. Not even 1 minute, half a minute, it'll die off. Now, you've got a matchbox. You lit the matchstick. It's lighted, a little bit of petrol is there, or a little bit of some inflammable thing is there, or paper is there. Now you put it on that, boom, the whole thing catches fire. Same match, same matchstick, same thing you have lit. See what happened? Because the ground there is so fertile for it to catch fire. Okay, so if your diabetes is well controlled, it's like putting it on a place where there's no inflammable material. It will die off on its own, just like a non-diabetic person. A person who has uncontrolled diabetes, you're asking for trouble because you got diabetes uncontrolled, now you're getting COVID also. These are the people who don't do well. So moral of the story is control your diabetes well. Okay. What are the mechanisms by which diabetes may increase risk and severity of COVID? Because in an older age group, I showed you with age how it goes up. You also have hypertension, heart disease and diabetes itself. Plus your immunity may be a little lower. I'll talk 1 or 2 minutes about that. In young people, you have a robust immune function. Okay. So if you have vaccination efficiency, resistance to antibiotic. As you age, your immune dysfunction sets in. You decreased immune surveillance, your white cells are not so good and your immunity is down. That's why you get increased inflammation and that's why you get severe disease if you get things like COVID. Okay. Now, are they likely to develop more severe form of COVID-19 if you have diabetes? Yes, if you are uncontrolled, as I said. Okay. And so old age is there, so control your diabetes well. Is the fatality rate more? From the published study, this is from Wuhan in China, the overall rate was death rate was about 2%. In diabetic patient, it was 7%. But these people with diabetes, now look at age 80, it is 14%. Now this is among non-diabetics also. So age is the one which is killing. All these diabetics had age group 60, 70, 80. That is why they are dying. Not just because of diabetes they didn't die. Because they are old, their immune system was poor, they were in poor health, that is why they died. Now, what happens you don't have to go through all this, but the SARS virus enters into the body. Once it enters through the respiratory tract, that we know. Once it enters, it can either just stay in the throat and the nose and so on, or it can get into the lungs. Once it gets into the lungs or anywhere in the body, we have a very good immune system. That immune system with macrophages and white cells, so they will go and knock off all the beta cells or all the COVID viruses. So it's like when an enemy comes in, you go and then shoot all the enemy. And if your immune system is very good, okay, all the viruses are killed. So don't worry if they enter. Every day so many viruses are going in. You don't even know. The body is doing a great job. But if the virus load is too high, your own immunity is very poor, then what happens is the virus then starts producing immune reaction. There is what is called as a cytokine storm. Suddenly a lot of chemicals are released into the body. That goes and damages the lungs, the heart, the kidney, the liver, all kinds of places. Multiple organ damage occurs. These are the people who die. Okay. Of course, there are exceptionally 1 or 2 deaths we don't know. Nothing in medicine. Remember one thing. Since you're IIT students, I'm telling you. Okay. We are taught, and I teach my students, that if I ask IIT students now, what is 2 plus 4? You'll say, what is the idiot? He's asking 2 plus 2, what is it? As if we are first standard students. Huh? 2 plus 2 is 4. Okay? If I tell you that in medicine 2 plus 2 is virtually always never 4, will you believe me? Okay? 2 plus 2 can be 3.5 in medicine. 2 plus 2 can be 4.5 in medicine. 2 plus 2 can be 6 also in medicine. 2 plus 2 can be 0 also in medicine. 2 plus 2 can be 4 occasionally also in medicine. This is what makes biology and medicine so difficult. You cannot predict what the host response will be. Okay? That's why the unknown is so much more. Right. Now let's switch to healthy living. What do we do for healthy living? I'm going to go through some very simple things, but note these very carefully. Good nutrition is very, very important. And here are the principles. Eat well. Eat slowly. Eat on time. Eat right. And have complete balanced nutrition. This is very important. Each one is important. Eating well, eating slowly, eating on time, eating right, have complete balanced nutrition. Few slides about that. Now, why it's so important? Because this is the whole concept of what is called as immunonutrition. Through nutrition itself, you can build your immunity. Okay, and if those of you have not seen my video, I'll come back to that. I've made a very simple, very popular video on YouTube. Just go to Dr. V Mohan and type 5 things to do to build immunity, and like a 3-minute, 4-minute video which will tell you all about it and which you can very easily follow. Okay, the point I'm trying to make is there are many things we can't control: age, gender, hormonal status, genetics, early life events. But there are a lot of things you can control: smoking, alcohol. Okay, if you're not doing exercise, you can stop these. Exercise can increase, reduce your stress, get vaccinated to pneumococcal or influenza. We don't have a COVID vaccine. And then improve your diet, and then your immune function improves dramatically. Those who are malnourished, if you're too thin, too malnourished, your body cannot handle the immunity well, and then you get muscle weakness and fatigue and so on. So stay strong. Okay, build up your muscle. I'll come to that later. Now, general tips: eat healthy and nutritious food, improve your immunity, exercise regularly, reduce stress and anxiety, and try to stay safe. So, exercise is important, eating is important, reducing stress is important. Few words about all that. Now, this is a plate, a thali. What we normally do in South is that we'll take rice and fill the whole plate like a mountain. Okay, and with that we'll have rice and sambar, rice and curd, rice and rasam, rice and this. It'll go on and on and on. So these are carbohydrate. We know that excess carbohydrate weakens you because it increases your sugar level, it increases insulin resistance, and your immunity goes down. Okay, especially if it is polished grain. If you take whole grain like wheat or millets, many of you have asked me about millets and so on. So millets, brown bread, brown rice, whole wheat, these things are of course richer. But look at how I have kept the plate. Half the plate is vegetable. This is what we don't eat at all. I'm sure if I ask you students, are you eating vegetables? You'll say, "Cheh, I don't like vegetables." You should, because these are the powerhouses of immunity. Okay, even if you're a non-vegetarian, don't forget to take your veggies, because this is what is going to build immunity in you. So if there's one thing you take away from this lecture, it will be eat more vegetables. 3 to 4 vegetables per day. With lunch, breakfast, dinner, everything try to have. With breakfast, how can you have? Take salad. I take just cut tomato and cut cucumber every day with my breakfast. Not a single day I won't be there without taking this. Okay, and I also have vegetables with lunch and with dinner, lunch and dinner. Okay, 1/4 of your plate should be reserved for protein. In the case of non-vegetarians, you can take fish, chicken, egg, preferably egg white, or lean meat. But in the case of vegetarians, you can have either yogurt, you can have milk, or you can have all these pulses and legumes: Bengal gram, green gram, black gram, rajma, all kinds of dals, all these put together. So 50% of the plate is vegetables, 25% is protein, only 25% will be carbohydrate. If you do this, if it is not rice, chapati, 1 chapati, 2 chapati, enough, not more than that. If you do this, already you have built up your immunity. Over the next 1 week, 2 weeks, your immunity will improve. So don't forget to do this. Tell all your family members about this. Which vegetables to use? Anything you like, doesn't matter. More colors are there, better. We call this rainbow colors: white, green, red, yellow, orange. Okay. So each one, so tomato will give you something, and carrots will give you carotenoids. This will give you lycopene, and then you will get green leafy vegetables will give you iron. It will give you B12. It will give you that. Bell peppers will give you vitamin C, zinc, all those kind of things you'll get. Fruits and vegetables, you will get vitamin C from all the oranges. Okay, so different fruits. If you are not having diabetes, you can even have 3-4 fruits per day in addition to 3-4 vegetable types per day. If you are having diabetes, restrict the fruit to 1 to 2, vegetables you can take any amount. Okay, and again see different colors we have put, because each one gives you a different phytonutrient. This is a kind of healthy diet that you take. Little bit of rice, more of side dishes, okay, include lot of pulses and dal and protein, lot of vegetables. Don't take all the junk foods, big pizza, okay. We don't even know that this one pizza will contain more than 1000 calories. That's more than your whole day's meal. And then after finishing that, like as if like one puppet you will treat it, okay. And then after eating that you will say, where is my dinner now? I'm hungry. I have to eat my dinner. Already I've had 5 dinners in this, you know. Now only think of dinner. This is because you're mixing cultures. Once you start mixing cultures, you don't know what is in this. You're simply eating it, okay. So if you take one small piece of that, then it's probably okay. Although you can see the amount of cheese in this, okay. So that's a lot. And then of course, maida, rava. Look at this. Chicken. I said chicken you can eat, but not like this. Fried chicken, which contains so much of deep fried, so much of trans fats, very bad for the heart. Okay. Now exercise. Exercise very important, decreases blood sugar levels, decreases cholesterol, and the bad cholesterol, LDL cholesterol, increases the HDL cholesterol or the good cholesterol, decrease triglyceride, blood pressure, weight, body fat, increases muscle mass, which is very good, decrease insulin resistance, decrease stress, and prevents complications. Now these are foods which give you 200 calories. 3 idlis, 3 chapatis, 2 dosa, 3 vada, 1 and 3/4 cups of rice. Any one of them, not all of them, any one of them gives you 200 calories. Okay. Now exercises, many people say I don't need exercise. I am working like 10-12 hours in the office, so I don't need exercise. I'm a hard worker. That is like watching television for 14 hours. Okay. After 14 hours of sitting, you have still not burnt your 200 calories. You still got long way to go. Unfortunately, only 24 hours in the day. So you can run for 12 minutes, swim for 30 minutes, walk for 60 minutes. Walking means slow. Fast walk means 30 minutes, 45 minutes, depending on your speed. Okay. So this is what you should be doing. And if you do this, you have burnt your breakfast. Then again, you can burn calories for lunch and dinner. Now remember one simple formula: 8,000 calories. If you take 8,000 calories, you'll put on 1 kg in weight. If you decrease 8,000 calories, you'll decrease 1 kg in weight. That's why it's so difficult to lose weight, because 8,000 calories you have to burn to lose weight. Now, suppose you cut off breakfast. Is it good? No, it's bad, because you will feel more hungry by lunchtime and you will double the calories at lunchtime. Besides, it gives you a lot of stress because you have cut off your breakfast and so on. Okay, so reduce your food intake. Instead of 3 idlis, make it 2 idlis, if that's all you want. Of course, a growing student like you, maybe you can eat that, but then you have to burn it off also. Play games, or in IIT, you know, you can't get a better place than IIT to do your exercise. You know, I feel jealous whenever I come there. So much of like a forest it is. You can do whatever exercise you want there. Now, there are 2 more components. What I mentioned, running, jogging and all, that's only one, aerobic exercise, that everybody knows about. 2 more are important. One is resistance training. Take small weights, dumbbells. You can do it in a gym, or you get a dumbbell, or even nothing else. You take a water bottle filled up, and then do exercises with the arm for biceps, triceps, and all other muscles, back muscles, pectoral muscles. All this you can develop with resistance training. Once your muscles develop, your immunity also improves, and you become stronger and fitter. We published a paper last year where we showed that 2 years ago, where we showed that grip strength, how strong your grip strength determines your lifespan, your mortality. Those who had a weak grip strength, they die soon. This is a 15-year follow-up study of 150,000 people. After that, we are able to show that. So simple thing like grip is, your strength is very important. Lastly, flexibility. Balance is very important. You must be able to stand on one leg, lift the other leg, and keep it there for 1 minute and still stand. Okay, you shouldn't fall off. Okay, even with your eyes closed. That shows that you've got good balance. Then you won't fall off, you won't break your leg or head. Okay. The balance between diet and exercise determines your weight. So if your energy in is equal to energy out, then your weight is maintained. If your energy in is less than energy out, you will lose weight. If your energy in is more than energy out, you will gain weight. So very simple, depending on how much you eat, your exercise you have to do. If you're eating a little bit more, exercise much more, then you will be able to burn it off. Of course, people with diabetes and so on, you still have to have a little bit of control on what you eat, plus you should do exercise. Now, we tell people, take a dog for a walk. This guy thinks he's being very smart. He's taking his dog for a walk. He's going in the car. So, who gets exercise? Dog gets exercise. Car gets exercise. This man doesn't get any exercise at all. Okay, leave that. Now, here is a 24-hour fitness center. Now, these guys are paying to a gym to go and get their exercise. They see the steps here, but it doesn't strike them that by going up those steps, they've already started their exercise. No, they have to go on an escalator. Okay, this is what I think pre-COVID we have been doing all these stupid things. If you just really, I've told people who said they can't exercise at home, I said, do you have staircase? I have about 10-15 steps in my house. Walk 50 times. Do it 10 times morning, 20 times morning, then 10 times afternoon, 20. That's your exercise. Enough. You got it. You see. So we can make life very simple if we don't do these stupid things. Okay. Try to get 10,000 steps a day. I'm sure all of you have a smartphone, all of you have a mobile phone. In that, there must be a program to measure your steps. So, if it's a safe place to walk, like a room or a hall or something, you can, whenever you make a call or receive a call in a mobile phone, just keep walking about. Why should you sit down, walk about? You take your dog for a walk, or you play with your friends or with children or with whatever. And then in the office, every hour, get up and walk a few steps. Every hour or half an hour, 2-3 minutes you go. Every 1 hour, 5 to 10 minutes, you walk about somewhere, come back, go to the toilet, take a drink of water. It's good to drink a lot of water. That also builds your immunity. This is what you should try to do. Stress reduction, very, very important. As I said, more people die due to corona phobia than to corona itself. So meditation, yoga, pranayama, very important. That's what is showing here. Pranayama is very important. Recreational activities, counseling, pick up games that you like, all that you can do. Okay, one must live a life of moderation and do nothing in extremes. Now we come to how I'll show you now. I'm switching tracks now. Healthy living over. So I'm trying to make it so that for every one of you there is something to learn from my lecture. Now I'm just showing you a little bit of technology, how we use that before and after the COVID lockdown in our center. You can also use similar things in your setup. As I said, our center, it's the largest diabetes center chain in the world actually. We have almost 500,000 diabetic patients, 480,000 patients. We have 52 branches all over India as shown here in 9 states of India, and we have 130 doctors who work, 1,400 staff. Now, we used to see about 1,000 patients a day, 1,000 patients between all these branches. Suddenly lockdown came and it came down to 0. In fact, the government told us, don't open your clinic. We'll come and arrest you if you open your clinic. Then I talked to the health minister and said, sir, you are saying that uncontrolled diabetic patients die, and then you're telling us to close all our diabetic centers. You want all of them to go uncontrolled and die? I mean, what are you talking about? Then he said, yeah, you got a point. You open all your centers. So we started opening all our centers. But then there's always a risk. We don't know who is infected. Diabetic patient may be more prone. They may get it from us. We may get it from them. So we adopted Diabetology. By the time telemedicine got legalized in India, as you know, 25th March, telemedicine was legalized in India. So what we did was, in the first week, there were no outpatients at all. Then inpatients alone continued to function, emergencies. Then government told us to do. So we had to find solutions. This is what we did. This is what we have been doing now. Of course, we have opened now. On May 4th, we opened. So what happens is patient calls our call center at the center. Call center talks to the dietitian who goes through we have everything electronic. For our patients, everything is electronic, which explains why we do so much research. So from there, what happens is that the dietitian finds out, okay, shall we arrange for some tests for you? You don't come to the center, we'll come to you. So we send our team, home care team, they go and do the phlebotomy, blood collection at home. They come to the lab does the test, reports are printed out. The report don't need to be printed out, they come into the computer system. We have electronic records, as I said, right from 1991. So it comes in the electronic records. These electronic records can be seen by the doctor either on a computer, laptop, mobile phone, whatever you want. Okay. Patient can also see, but we don't have the app yet now. But the patient also can, if you give them the thing, they can also see. Now, the consultant reviews the reports, talks to the patient or the dietitian and says, let's have the consultation. Then he reviews and say, your sugar has gone up, do this, do that. I've seen your old prescription, I'm writing the new prescription. The doctor then types out the prescription And then we ask them, do you need medicines? If they say, yeah, we need medicine, then the pharmacy takes the medicine, prescription, reports, everything, and then takes it to the door of the patient. You can see patient is sitting at home, doctor is sitting at home, dietitian is sitting at home, but then we have been able to do all this. Only the lab has been working, and then so with skeleton staff we're able to. So we are able to close the whole loop. Now this is a kind of unique system. I was talking to many telemedicine experts in the world. Very few actually completed the loop. At best, they give one consultation. That's it. This kind of a complete loop we were able to do. And this is a new technology. We've already done a small study on this, not a small. 3,000 patients, we looked at what happened and we found fantastic results. Everybody said, after COVID, diabetes is going to go for a 6. Everybody is going to do well. We actually showed a 0.5% reduction in HbA1c during this period. From 8.2 mean, it came down to 7.7. This has been breaking news. I've already written it up, and the paper has been sent for publication last week. And this will be the first thing to show that during COVID, we are able to actually improve diabetic control, contrary to what everybody is saying. What platform did we use? We used telephone, Zoom, Skype, WhatsApp, audio, video, SMS, emails. We used all, depending on where the patient was. These are the protective measures we took in the clinics which are allowed to open. Right from the point of entry, security, temperature check, hand sanitizer, checking for symptoms, seating chairs we had to rearrange, disinfection of the clinics, and compulsory wearing of masks both by the staff as well as the patients. Here are a few pictures. As a patient comes in, at the security desk itself, they are tested. If they have fever, we make alternate arrangements for them to go. Only if they are asymptomatic, they come in, because we don't want them to infect all the other highly prone diabetic patients. Then what they do is, as soon as they enter, now they have to disinfect. Without disinfection, they cannot enter into the clinic at all. Now, before the clinic start and at regular intervals, fumigation of the whole hospital is done. Social distancing. You can see how where the 3 used to sit, now we have only one like that. So distancing is maintained. So even though they are coming to the clinic, they are safe. What organization should do post-COVID? I'm now talking to, for a IIT it may be a little different, but I'm just talking in general, okay? But it relates to you also. Proper and frequent sanitization at the entrance work. Whoever is coming into the department anywhere, see that the hand sanitizer is used at the time when they're coming in and the time when they're going. Touch points, door handles, taps in bathrooms, we do it every half an hour. Half an hour it will be cleaned, then again it will be cleaned, again it will be cleaned, again. Thermal screening, physical distancing, fumigation, wearing of masks. Staff to come in shifts. We also have only 1/3 of our staff who are coming in. Avoid mass gathering and crowding, okay? This is a good example. I'm addressing 1,000 of you, but each of you sitting in your home, okay? We find new methods of doing it. Staggered lunch breaks, strict ban on gutka, tobacco use, spitting in public places, proper respiratory etiquette like sneezing into the elbow. All these we learned after COVID. Instead of sneezing into your hands where you'll go and infect, sneeze into the elbow. If you have a shirt or something there, that doesn't last long. People have actually asked me that question, how long does the virus last on clothes? We'll talk about that. Now, how should we look after ourselves post COVID-19? Now I'm coming to you, addressing all of you, because Professor Krishna Kumar and Professor Srikanth said, talk to these students so that they get motivated. So that's what I'm trying to do now. Try to stay safe. These are my suggestions to you. Try to stay safe, prevent getting infected or infecting others. You can easily do it by wearing a mask and following all the precautions. In every place where, see in Kerala, why there are only 600 cases? Because the 100% literacy there, everybody followed the rule. If they were told something, just like in Japan or in China, they followed it. In Tamil Nadu, it's there, but it's not to that extent. A lot of people think they're being very heroic, or they are protesting by saying, we'll go out, we'll see what happens to you. So if you take precaution, then it's good for you. Dispose of the mask, gloves, etc. before going home. As soon as you go home, change your clothes, have a wash before you meet others or shake hands with others, something. Work-life balance is very important. Don't neglect your family. Whether you're the head of that family or the child in the family or whatever, have more bonding time with the family. It's very important. Sleep is very, very important to build immunity. Get 6 to 8 hours of good quality sleep and try to get into bed by 11 p.m. latest. Okay? You cannot say I'll watch TV and movies up to 3 o'clock and then I'll get 6 hours of sleep and 9 o'clock I'll get up. It's bad for you. Your chronobiology is gone. your sleeping time has gone, your quality of sleep won't be good. Morning when you're supposed to get up and do exercise or yoga or pranayama or something, you're sleeping. Then the whole biology, hormones, everything is gone. Naturally your immunity is going to go down. Every day during this lockdown period, I have gone to sleep at the same time. I got up in the morning at the same time. I did my exercise every day. I have a treadmill at home, so I do every single day. I've done my yoga every single day. I've not missed even one pranayama every single day. It has been a routine. For me, it doesn't matter, except that I'm not going out. Except when the health secretary called yesterday, I went out. But otherwise, I don't go. I'm able to do a lot of work at home. My whole life has changed. But I've been much more productive here than I was in the pre-COVID region. It all depends on whether you make up your mind or not. Yoga, very important. Yoga helps to improve memory, concentration, relieving stress and anxiety. I believe a lot in yoga. Yoga is extremely good. Pranayama is something which you should do every single day. Of course, the flexibility here will help. I told you about flexibility when I talked about exercise. That is automatically built in here. But apart from that, it also makes you less stress, which is very important. Okay. Now, other ways of relaxation is develop a hobby. I've learned so many new things after COVID came, which I could not do earlier. Learn to relax, find inner peace. Spirituality is the key. Remember, I'm using the word spirituality, not religion. Religion is always controversial. There are more wars fought over religion, more people killing each other over religion. Spirituality, there is no argument about it. Whichever religion you belong to, whichever God you believe in or don't believe in also, if you help another human being, if you find inner peace, if you are happy and contented, that is the essence of spirituality. I think for every human being this applies. Okay, religion and all doesn't come into the picture at all when it is spirituality. And that is why the famous saying that says that hands that help are holier than lips that pray. I think it is in serving society. That's the reason I'm talking to all of you today. I am not part of one of your teachers in IIT, and I've got a lot of work to do. But when Professor Krishna Kumar and Professor Srikanth asked me, I said, okay, if I'm going to help a few students to find some peace, if they are able to be happy, if they get a little more confidence, then it is worth it. That's my spirituality, and that's the reason why I'm giving this talk. Don't worry if you've lost financially. All of us have lost financially. You can't believe it. I don't want to bore you with the facts and figures, but we have lost, extensively. Whether we'll even recover from this is a big doubt, but we will. I believe in God, and therefore I believe we will. And we can always make up in the future. The future is waiting for us. It's not the end of the world at all. We have gone through a slap on the face, which we should never have got. But that doesn't mean that we'll keep on getting slapped, So tomorrow is always there for us to make up. Remember, this too shall pass. Put this down somewhere where you can see it every day. This too shall pass. Whenever you get a bad thing happening in your life, somebody died, you failed in an exam, you lost one match, you missed your gold medal, something happens, you think it's the end of the world. That time, tell yourself, this too shall pass. Okay? That will go. Afterwards, it will not be there at all. Don't panic. Panic, fear and depression will kill more people in India than COVID-19. Now let me show you some facts. Okay? 3 or 4 quick things. I've shown this on Twitter, but I'm going to show you now. Don't listen to too much of corona news. What happens? Morning, afternoon, evening, night, only corona news, corona news, corona news. Is this the only thing in the world? We don't have other things to talk about? Has corona taken over the whole world? No. Let us not even talk about it. We'll dismiss it from here. Stop researching on corona. Most of the views are by quacks and pseudoscientists. People who don't know anything about it will keep on quacking, quack, 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 they'll tell you. And you're going to listen to all that. And then you're going to be scared because of that. And many commit suicides because of that. Absolute rubbish statements are put out, including by world-renowned organizations. That is quite a shame even to read such thing. You stop reading and get on with your life. Don't read all this nonsense. Education can be postponed. You may say, what happens, education? Doesn't matter. If 1 year goes away, what will happen? Is it the end of your life? You spend that year doing something else, and then you can. So it's just a postponement. It's not a cancellation. 2020 is all about staying alive. We must stay alive. We must be able to live the tale. 2021, we must say, "Appa, that was a bad year, but now it's gone. Now we have got a good year ahead." So staying alive is all very important. Now I'm going to tell you 3 or 4 facts which are very important about COVID-19. Now this is changing every day, so don't go by this. The number of COVID cases in India as on 11th May 2020, okay, when I prepared this talk for you, was 70,000 cases. 70,000 looks like a huge number. Remember, India's population is 1.3666 billion. Okay. If you divide one by the other, and people say, oh, you shouldn't do that. Why? You should do it. Simple mathematics. In mathematics, you can do this. So 70,000 divided by 1.366 billion, infection rate is 0.00005% of the population. Multiply that into 2. If you say across 1 lakh, okay, add one, remove 1 0. It's 0.0001. Okay. It is such an, so what does it mean? It means that 99.9995% of the population is not infected. Now, you argue with me and tell me whether my argument is wrong. 99.999995% of India's population is not affected. Then what are you talking about? That you will die due to COVID? Okay. So, a chance of getting it itself is very small. Now, fact number 2. 80% of COVID-19 patients are asymptomatic or have mild symptoms like flu. All of us get flu and it goes away. 20% get moderate to severe symptoms. 10% get admitted in hospital. 5% enter into the ICU. Less than 1% die. Okay. These are facts. There is no doubt about it. Fact number 3. Number of people in India who have died due to COVID-19 as on 11th May is 2,200. It might have become 3,000 now. Doesn't matter. Okay. India's population 1.3666 billion. Same mathematics. Hence, the percentage population who have died due to COVID is 0.00000016. Now, you can say 99.999998% of the population have not died due to COVID. Okay. So, what's your chance of getting it and dying due to it? It's very, very unlikely that you will die due to COVID-19. So, where is the paranoia? Go by statistics. Of course, for the man who died is 100%. That's different. Okay. But your chance is like this. Your chance is like this. Okay. So don't worry about it. That much percentage is there even if you catch a plane, that the plane will crash and you'll die. That you are driving a bicycle and going, or a scooter and going, that you'll die, an accident and die. Okay. This kind of risk only you have, nothing more than that. There's always a risk in life. If you simply stand, I think one fan may fall on your head and then you may die. Okay. Those kind of risks, if you're scared, then you might not live at all, because you're going to die anyway. You're going to die 1,000 deaths because you're a coward. Okay. We are all brave, and therefore we'll die only once when we are meant to die. Why think about that? We've got so many things to do before we die, isn't it? Next, precautions to prevent. I've already come to the end of my talk. So what should people do to prevent COVID-19? First, let's tell everyone not to panic. Again and again I'm saying that. Tell everyone not to panic. Practice principles for prevention. I'm not saying go out. See, in Georgia, what happened was, in Atlanta and Georgia, what they did was, they said enough. One fine day they said no lockdown, nothing. They didn't even wear a mask. I've seen pictures. About 3 weeks ago, I was on a call with Emory University in Atlanta, and they showed me, today we have unlocked, look at what guys are doing. They are not even wearing, because summer, they're not even wearing a banian or something. They're just going out on the road, drinking, going to pubs, going to bars, and everybody is mixing, hugging each other, no mask, nothing. I thought, God, finished. Georgia is going to explode. Yesterday, they've looked at the statistics in Georgia. There have been no increased hospitalizations, no deaths due to COVID in Georgia. I don't know what happened. Even though lockdown suddenly was lifted, people did all the wrong things. Nothing's, and I posted in this one today, in Twitter today, about that, saying what's happening in Georgia. Is it relevant to India? I'm asking. So anyway, I don't believe that we should go to that extent. Social distancing or physical distance still you maintain. Frequent hand washing. Wear a mask if you visit a health facility. Wear a mask anyway. Nothing wrong in wearing a mask. Good respiratory etiquette we talked about. Okay. What extra precautions should people with diabetes take? Control diabetes well. Check your sugars often. Eat healthy. Include more vegetables, protein. We've already discussed all this. Exercise, pranayama. Last is myths and realities. Last 2-3 slides. Now there are a few myths and realities. Are hand dryers effective in killing a virus? No. Do UV lamp kills a virus? No. How effective are thermal scanners in detecting people with the virus? It will only show you if you have fever. If it's an influenza fever also, it will pick it up. But it tells you that it's not a severe thing. Okay, if you are normal. Can spraying alcohol, chlorine all over the body kill the virus? Probably kill you. So don't do that. Is it safe to receive a letter or package from China? Probably yes. I don't think it will be spread through that. Many of you asked, through notes can it come? Very unlikely. because on a surface it doesn't last for very long. In our summer 40 degrees, it's not going to last for very long. Okay, can pets at home spread the virus? Well, probably not. We don't know. They are also animals, so if they also have respiratory system and everything, we don't know, so they can. Do vaccines against pneumonia protects against novel virus? No, but it will protect against secondary infection and pneumonia. In fact, the Oxford trial which failed, which came in the papers today, it protected against pneumonia. It didn't protect against COVID-19, but it protected against severity and pneumonia and so on. It did protect. Can regular rinsing of your nose with saline help to prevent? No. Can gargling mouthwash prevent? No. Prevent infection only. Don't think that. Can eat garlic help to prevent? It may raise your immunity. Not only garlic, there is turmeric, there is ginger, and many other things which can help to improve your cinnamon, all the spices and everything. So these are good. And so somebody has asked that special kudineer which they give, is it good? Well, it contains all these things, so if it is good, it's good, you take it. But if the water is infected, then you'll get some other disease. So you just try to take what is natural. And then there are a few other things. Does it affect old people or young people? Anybody it can affect, but the younger people will get out of it fast because their immunity is better. I told you that. Can antibiotics kill the virus? No. It can prevent secondary infection, however. Okay, they work only against bacteria, not against virus. Are there any specific medicines to prevent? Many of you asked about HCQ, hydroxychloroquine. Okay. Well, I don't know how the Indian government actually said everybody should take hydroxychloroquine. Not a single study has been done on it. The data on hydroxychloroquine comes from people who already had COVID, where the French doctor showed that it reduces the mortality and so on. He showed some dramatic results. And then in New York, they did the study and they found the opposite. They actually killed more people because you get QTc prolongation, cardiac arrhythmias and so on come. So should all of you take HCQ? No, I don't think anybody should take HCQ. I don't take it. So it just stays safe. There is no evidence that HCQ actually prevents hydroxychloroquine. So don't go and take hydroxychloroquine. There have already been, incidentally, there have already been many deaths in India due to hydroxychloroquine. They just went and bought from the pharmacist, took it and they died because it has side effects. That's my last slide of the presentation. Reduce your risk of coronary virus by washing your hands with soap and water. Some things are worth repeating again and again. Either with soap and water, which is very good. Soap actually kills the virus. Alcohol based hand rub also is good. Cover your nose and mouth when coughing, sneezing, or use the flexed elbow. Avoid contact with anyone who has cold or flu like symptoms. Thoroughly cook meat. Somebody asked me about meat. Can you get through meat? No, not through ordinary meat. You won't get through a meat which you buy. It is spread through bats. That is what it was believed. So through meat, there has been no thing. And also cook your meat really well. So even if you have salmonella or other infections, it will go. Eggs also. Avoid unprotected contact with live, wild or farm animals. We don't know which other animals other than bat can produce. In fact, the bats in India also, they have detected this virus. So be careful about that. I'm going to show you the contact details of my center. If you want to take a picture of this, you can take, because in case some of you want to write to me, you can write to me at drmohans@diabetes.ind.in. This is for appointments, but to me, if you want to write asking some questions, then even after this, because I'm going to take questions which you have asked, I may not be able to take live questions because of the technology. So drmohans@diabetes.ind.in is my email ID, which I will see. That's my telephone number, but it will be difficult to get me on phone. Write email, I'll definitely reply to you. Okay, and that's our address if you want to know where our address is. And I'm going to end with this slide, which again gives you my email ID. You can take a picture of this. In fact, I'll encourage you to take a picture, as I'll tell you why. That's our website if you want more information. Those are our Facebook thing. We have both in the center's name as well as in my name. We have on Twitter. See, for example, Twitter, if you put DMDSC, Dr. Mohan's Diabetes Specialty Center, you will get the hospital. But Dr. Mohan V, if you put DRMOHANV, you will get my Twitter, where I keep tweeting every day. At least one tweet I'll put to give some positive information to people. But the most important, I would say, is the YouTube. You go to youtube.com/Dr. V Mohan. So we just go to YouTube and type DRV Mohan in whichever way you type, with gap, without gap, whichever way you type. Dr. V caps, no caps, doesn't matter. Dr. V Mohan, if you type, you will get my videos. About 40 videos are there already. Now these are not long videos. One or two of them are lectures like this, which if you want to hear, you can hear. But the others are all short videos, just 2 minutes, 3-minute videos. We talk about immunity, we talk about diabetes, we talk about motivational, we talk about aging, we talk about diet, we talk about exercise, we talk about immunity, we talk about everything possible. So I hope you have taken a picture of that. Put that back. Okay, just take a picture of that, and I would love to, if you have liked this lecture, then after this lecture you're not going to have any contact with me. This will be one way in which you can continuously get motivational videos. I'd also request you to all to subscribe to this so that you will be informed of my future videos which I do on YouTube. I take a lot of time and effort to produce these to motivate people. So if 1,000 of you are watching, I'd encourage all the 1,000 of you to subscribe to this particular channel. Now I'm going to switch and come live now and take a few questions which you have asked me. You've got so many questions. I have answered most of them, but let me see. So they are asking, if we stay indoors, can it affect your sugar? I told you that we showed that even those who are indoors, if they did something, ground exercises, yoga, treadmill, walking up and down stairs, increasing their exercise step count by walking when doing mobile phone, playing thing, or walking on the terrace. So many things they did, and they actually brought down their sugar levels. Given we don't have a vaccine, how will we come back to normal life? Let me ask you, which vaccine did we have against SARS, MERS? Did we have vaccine against all? Are you taking vaccine against SARS, MERS? These are all pandemics which will come for a particular period, rise, and then it will go down. Okay, once it goes down, it's over. So even if let me say vaccine comes next year, 2021, there's not a single case of COVID, okay, in the world. Now vaccine has come. Are you going to take it? I won't take it. Why should I take a vaccine about which there's no disease itself there? Why should I take a vaccine? If it is something like influenza which is coming again and again and every year, then I'll take it. Or pneumococcal, if I get it, I'll die if I get pneumonia, maybe. Then I'll take it, okay? Or hepatitis B, something you're always, some blood you're in contact with, you may get. Those kind of things you can take. But COVID-19, I'm not sure whether you actually need a vaccine and when it's going to come. Hydroxychloroquine, I answered. Is it self-limiting? I answered. What are the risks of diabetes? I answered. Social distancing? I answered. If you're sick and not asymptomatic, will it resurface? We don't know. These are the unknown unknowns. Next year whether it will come again, who knows? God only knows. I really don't know whether it will come back. If it comes back again, we are more prepared. So next time we'll know what to do. We'll do all the precautions now. Is it recommended to take homeopathic, allopathic medicine boost our immunity? Well, simple things. You listen to my video on immunity. I talked about it. Vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc. Most of it from food itself you can get. Maybe one supplement which gives you all of these are good. If you think there's a particular Ayurvedic thing which gives you all this, take it. No problem. There are also allopathic things which give you. There's a homeopathic thing going around. 3 tablets you take, 5 days, and then you're protected. Who has done a study? Nobody has done a study. But if you believe in that, take it. Nothing wrong. Don't take anything without asking a physician, because many of these can produce damage, it can produce side effects, therefore be very careful. How long does virus last on these surfaces? Not very long. They are asking glass and this and stainless steel, plastic. If it is in the heat, it will go immediately. 1 hour, half an hour, dead. Okay, you can't have something in the hot sun for 40 degrees, 45 degrees and virus goes on and on. No, it doesn't. It needs a surface where it can multiply. So all those places it will go. Door handle and all maybe for some more time, although it will go off. Keep cleaning it, then whatever you can clean, you can clean. What if herd immunity? So herd immunity, I had some strange discussions in various things about herd immunity. 60% of the population, if they are infected, you can get herd immunity. So somebody has asked here, actually very interesting question. Why don't you send youngsters out and get them infected so that the herd infectivity will set in? We have to do that to 1.3 billion people in India. Send them out in, and show a gun there with coronavirus and start infecting everyone. In that many will die. Let them develop it naturally. If they get infected, your body will build its own immunity. You don't have to expose them and then give them the coronavirus and then you may kill a few people. Don't do all that. Just get on with your life. Take precautions. Either you won't get it, or if you get it, it will be mild. You will develop immunity to it. After 3 months, 6 months, everybody is infected and gone. Herd immunity has come. Corona cannot touch you after that. Because once you get immunity for virus, normally it will not come back again. Okay. Diabetes we finished. Cure vaccine we finished. Heart we finished. Vaccine is finished. How to get diabetes, to counter diabetes finished. Clotting in the heart over. blood sugar levels over. Okay, so there is one thing. Oh, the blood sugar levels have been lowered, and then that is why everybody is getting diabetes. Fake news, absolute stupid fake news given by quacks, quack, quack, quack. They're gone. These fake news fellows. Don't listen to them. I've got a video on that also. Have the blood sugars been lowered? I am part of almost every WHO committee in the world which meets to discuss this. In India, they'll call me and they'll say what to do. We are so rational. There are 20 people from different countries sitting there before one single thing is done. Last 30 years, believe me, no reduction in blood sugar count to make you normal or diabetic and all that has occurred. It's all total fake. Don't listen to it. I've got a video on that. You can listen to that. And then, is there anything worried about red meat? We finished. Weather, we finished. Do you need fitness certificate? I don't think we should actually insist on fitness certificate. I'll tell you why. Somebody from an industry called me. Shall I do for all my 4,000 employees? Shall I do COVID testing? I said, sir, you can do it. And then you're going to take him in. Suppose tomorrow he develops infection. What are you going to do? Okay. What is the reliability of these tests? There's like a 30% false positive, 30% false negative. We don't even know. Somebody who said you had it then becomes negative. Those who has negative become positive. Positive become positive. Negative become negative. All kinds of things are happening. I don't even believe in these tests, whether they are really good or not. I don't think everybody should routinely go and test. Can repeated COVID weaken our immune system? Of course, you repeat, but repeatedly it won't come. No, only once you'll get it, then you'll get okay. Can normalcy be reached without the discovery of vaccine? It will definitely be reached. Definitely be reached. No vaccine and all is going to make us normal. After already people are fed up, they started moving. After some time, it will become part of life. Okay, some people got it, we are not got it, we're getting on. That's how it will happen. Okay. Then management of diabetes, does it vary? Dr. Guru Mahar Sharma is asking me. Dr. Sharma, yes. I'm writing a lot of articles on diabetes and COVID, how to manage. This is being a late thing, I didn't do it. So, if you have mild COVID and you're on tablets and your sugar is well controlled, nothing to change. You just continue with that, either of you or your patient is thing. If on the other hand, the COVID is little more severe, diabetes uncontrolled, switch to insulin. Some of these drugs like the SGLT2s may produce dehydration, and in frail people it's not good. Better to avoid some of those drugs, but you have to take it on a case to case basis. Why is the death toll lower in India? We don't know. We really don't know whether it's immunity. Already we have some herd immunity, whether because of earlier influenza kind of things we are protected. Is it a younger age group? We are one of the youngest races in the world. As you know, 50% of the population is below 20-25 years of age. Is it because of that we are having less? Is it because we have been having malaria or something which protected us? Is it because we have all undergone BCG vaccination? Is it because the virus is different? The gene is different, genome is different, our genome is different, virus genome is different. Anything is possible. Okay. Then all that is over. Then last few questions. Panic I talked about. Rapid pace, vaccine we finished. Biggest tragedy. All that is we talked about. 60-year-old finished. Millet diet, I think we talked about that. See, remember, all millets are not the high fiber, good millets. The millets you have in the market are also polished, so they're just like rice. So there's no big advantage in changing over from rice and wheat to say other millets. The quantity of the carbohydrate is important. Government is distributing that kabasura. Well, if it is good, take it. It's justifiable to keep positive, healthy in isolation. Yes, I think healthy people should stay in isolation. But if any of these symptoms come, breathlessness, something, rush immediately, because you don't know who will go. 1 out of 1,000, 1 out of 1 lakh may go bad. So we'll have to do that. Vaccine is under development. Directly responsible. Again, vaccine. Is our lifestyle going to change? I think we should now all become little more brave, use precautions, and get back to work. Then there are a few things about taking medicines 20 minutes earlier. Should it be exactly 20 minutes? Nothing like that. When taking medicines, little flexibility here and there are there. These are, generally, one day you forgot 20 minutes, but even 15 minutes, doesn't matter. In life, all that happens. Okay, I think herd immunity again. So I think I've covered all the questions and also taken quite a lot of time. It's almost 1.5 hours that we have had with the questions and everything. So I don't want to keep you all too long. As I said, 2 things. One, send me more of your questions. If you think you have any more which I have not answered, or from this, if you have some comments, send me this. Let's remain friends, through our channels and so on. So it's an opportunity for you to give suggestions and to be connected. Most of all, show these videos to your family members, friends, and so on, because I'm trying my best just to give motivational messages in them, and I hope more and more people get it, because I find one thing: most people are negative. They frighten people and don't give them encouragement. I am the opposite, and I believe that positive messages must go. That will only help us to get through this COVID 19. So, wish you all the very best. May God bless all of you. Study well, those of you who are students, those of you who are professors. I hope you found this useful. Let us have more interactions. I feel a little guilty that last 1 year I have not come to IIT. So at least thank you for the opportunity to come back and reconnect as a adjunct faculty of the Department of Biotechnology, where Professor Karunakaran actually made me a adjunct professor. As I said, I have many collaborators in IIT with whom I am working. I would like to increase that to many more departments, and I have got a lot of ideas. After the COVID, probably we'll have a session there, a workshop where we meet and decide what is to be done. Until then, stay safe, look after yourself. Nothing is going to happen. All of you are going to be well. Very soon we are going to get back to work, and God bless and wish you all the very best. Thank you for the opportunity.